Hey, good evening, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about spices. So I am actually working on a series of ebooks on spices because I think that spices is a very underused part of nutrition. Every time we study spices, the more we study them, the more we realize benefits of spices. So I have a couple of tips on how to use spices. I consider myself a spice expert because I'm Indian and Indians use spices in just about everything that they make, from drinks to desserts to savory meals, main courses, you name it. They even spice their teas. So that's what chai latte is all about, so it's spiced tea. But anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about some general tips, a couple of general tips, and then the spice that I'm going to focus on is cinnamon, and then I'll be doing additional spice videos later on. So general tip number one is don't buy spices in bulk. I know it's cheaper, and you may be tempted to buy huge boxes of things and then keep them and use them once a year. That's a terrible way to use spices because they do lose their potency and flavor over time. So they end up tasting like sawdust, If you have a spice that's been sitting on your shelf for more than 5 years, just chuck it. Don't use it. If you have to buy spices in bulk, you can, but buy whole spices. So the trick is you buy whole spices and then you can grind them as you go, and they tend to deteriorate slower. When you powder them, there's more exposure to air, so there's more reaction, and it loses its potency faster. So that makes sense. Tip number two, how to cook with spices. One of the tricks that Indians do often is called tempering. And basically what they do is they let's say you want to flavor a dal, they'll take a little bit of oil after the lentils are completely cooked. They'll take a little bit of oil, heat it, and then add dry spices to it. Usually whole spices, but you can put powder in it too, but the powder can't stay in the hot oil for too long because it'll get overdone very quickly. And then so you put the hot spices in the hot oil and you let it crackle until you can start smelling the spices but not burning it. And then you just pour that oil that's been infused by all that spicy goodness into your dish, into your dal or whatever other dish that you're making. So that's tip number two. The alternative to that is you can dry roast whole spices. So you dry roast whole spices and then you grind it. So it'll make the grinding easier, and it'll also bring out all the aroma and the flavors, the smells. It's just divine. So those are my tips for spice. Okay, moving on to cinnamon. So cinnamon is an amazing spice. I know in America it's like the pumpkin season is the cinnamon season. That's where you make gingerbread cookies or pumpkin pies, and of course, it's in Starbucks, the latte. It's flavored with cinnamon. I don't know if they're using real cinnamon or not. I have no comment on it. But in India, they use cinnamon all year round. And as a matter of fact, one of the easiest way you can incorporate cinnamon into your life is you can add it to your tea. So what I do when I make chai at home, of course I'm vegan, so I have my own version of it. I actually boil water with cinnamon and ginger and maybe cardamom, and cardamom in it. And then, so I use cinnamon stick in this. And then I use that hot water to brew my tea leaves, which is just regular Darjeeling tea leaves. And then I add frothy almond milk to it, and it tastes delicious. Doesn't really require sweetener at all. You can add it if you like, but it's the perfect homemade vegan chai latte. Okay, so what is cinnamon? It's actually the bark of a tree, and there are two types. There's the true cinnamon, which is called Ceylon cinnamon, which is Ceylon, which used to be the name for Sri Lanka. And the second cinnamon is actually the cassia. So about 90% of the powdered cinnamon you see in the stores is cassia, which is called the fake cinnamon. The real cinnamon is slightly more expensive. It's a little lighter in color, and it is better for you. And I have pictures of it in my ebook, so you can definitely download it. I'm going to have links in the description. So one of the compounds that cinnamon has is cinnamaldehyde, and in studies, it's shown to be really good for your metabolism. So if you have one of the cinnamon-infused teas, it'll kickstart your metabolism. So cinnamon is extremely rich in antioxidants, especially polyphenols. And in a study of 26 different spices, they found that cinnamon had more antioxidants than any other, even more than garlic. Studies have shown that cinnamon has anti-inflammatory properties. In people with type 2 diabetes, cinnamon has been shown to lower LDL and improve blood markers if taken every day, about 1 gram of half a teaspoon of cinnamon a day. Cinnamon has shown to reduce insulin resistance, thereby allowing insulin to do its job properly. Cinnamon has shown to reduce the amount of glucose that enters your bloodstream after a meal. A couple of compounds found in cinnamon actually help prevent Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's is correlated with a type of protein buildup, and cinnamon actually inhibits the buildup of that protein. In test tubes and animal studies, cinnamon extract has been shown to prevent cancer growth. Cinnamaldehyde has also been shown in studies to prevent infections. So as you can see, cinnamon has some amazing effects. But a word of caution, there are many spices that they're pretty harmless and you can eat a lot of, and it doesn't have any negative effects. But cinnamon is not one of those. So cinnamon must be consumed in moderation, and you can overdo cinnamon. But it takes a lot to overdo cinnamon. I would say that I don't consume on average more than about a teaspoon a day, which is way lower than the safe limit, but I wouldn't go around doing the cinnamon challenge. That's not healthy. So do comment and let me know what you thought about this. As I mentioned, I'm going to add the link to the ebook in the description. It's completely free. And let me know if you want me to do more spice series videos, or you want me to do something different. And please subscribe, share, and like my videos. And I hope this helped you guys. Thank you. Good night.